Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1981's SADOMANIA by Mr. Jess Franco. SADOMANIA from 1981, and this is starring Ajita Wilson as well as Ursula Fellner, who's also in Devil Hunter, and also, I believe, in Playboy or Penthouse as well, a model, and Robert Foster, who acted in Franco's films all the way to Franco's last films with Revenge of the Alligator Ladies. This was put out by Blue Underground in 2004, so it's been out for quite some time. This is the back of the DVD here as well. And it says, Jess Franco's infamous Filth Fest, now totally uncut and uncensored for the first time ever in America. SADOMANIA. You'll know Ajita Wilson. She was in Macumba Sexual as well, which I've looked at on this YouTube page as well. So let's get into this beautifully fascinating and extremely depraved film right here from Mr. Jess Franco. What an awesome, awesome movie. Well, I have a bunch of notes here, so you're going to see my eyes divert. SADOMANIA, if you're looking for that Jess Franco film that's going to push the boundaries directly, that's going to just jump off the edge, that's going to be very, every minute soaked and packed with the edgy, the politically incorrect, the rough, the brutal, the sleazy, extremely sleazy, and a depravity and a darkness and a complexity, an incredible complexity. Amidst all of that, you think of the things that I just said, and then you mix in this artistic complexity, not only with the visuals and the style, which there is tons of, but also with the music and the lighting. It's interesting. A film called SADOMANIA, which is one of Franco's sleaziest and edgiest films that would offend most normal cinema goers. Is a Franco film that is taking that rough and brutal sexual violent world and exploitation and mixing it with a complex artistic quality, which only he can do. Let's get into this film, folks. I want to talk about the music here, some aspects of the music. We have... The film opens with this amazing jazz song that is in the CD, The Crazy World of Jess Franco, which I believe he might have utilized in more than one film. But you start off with this thick, heavy, smoky, sexy jazz song right at the beginning of the film, right at the opening credits. And the opening credits are wonderfully edited, almost stylized in their edit, and it just throws you into Franco's jazzy, sleazy world. We have Spanish guitar work in this film as well. Throughout the film, we have a lot of percussion in this score, and really has a strong island vibe, especially with the fact that there are palm trees everywhere in this film. And we do spend a good deal of time outside. And as you know, with Franco's films, a lot of the interiors almost are open to the outside world, as if the rooms don't have doors. And we also utilize the talking drum a lot in the score of this film. What a unique sound the talking drum has. I first discovered the talking drum in a Beastie Boys instrumental album years back. I believe it's called In Through the Out or something like that. It was the Beastie Boys' first instrumental album when they were playing the instruments. It was the first time I ever heard the talking drum, and it's in full display in SADOMANIA. We have amazing reflections through binocular glasses. We've seen Franco before doing reflections through eyeballs in the film Wicked Women. I believe, which I've looked at on this YouTube page. And here we have him doing reflections through binoculars. We have him shooting his camera through things like he normally has a tendency to do, where he will utilize the obstruction of something to shoot through it, like fences in this film, and of course also bars, captivity, bars, shooting through bars. This is a sweaty and extremely sleazy film. The girls are wearing very high shorts right up their ass cracks, and you can just see the dirt. You can see the sweat in their shorts, in their thighs. We have a lot of variety of women in this film, thick women, skinny women. Anybody who loves blondes, you're going to love a lot of the women in this film. For some reason, I feel like this has the most blondes out of any Franco film I've seen so far. I could be wrong on that, but I just felt there was a strong blonde presence in this film. And all the girls look amazing in different ways, all different types of women in the film. And my favorite was actually the wife who got separated from her husband in the film. This is such an interesting world because we're mixing women in prison with a white slavery world as well. And I'm going to get a little bit more into that in this video. We have a focus on birds in this film, almost that beautiful Franco repetitious focus on birds that reminded me a bit of Snake Woman, because the birds' presence with the audio qualities they're beautiful because they're birds. It's a natural world, but there's something extremely menacing about them as well. And it reminded me of the way birds are represented in his latter film, Snake Woman, I believe from 2005, which I've looked at on this YouTube page. And we even have a cute little bird in a cage in the prison camp. I think back at, like, there was a talking parrot in one or two of Franco's films where Erwin C. Dietrich produced, and I'm blanking on the names right now. I believe it's White Skin on Black Thighs. I think that's one of them, which I've looked at on this YouTube page. So this bird wasn't talking, though, but it was a cute bird. It brought a cuteness amidst the darkness. Very interesting. We have an element of the most dangerous game story in this film as well, which Franco has, looked at with The Countess Perverse and the film, and also, Tender Flesh. And both which I've looked at on this YouTube page. So we have that element in here as well. So we're mixing a lot of things. Well, white slavery, women in prison, the most dangerous game. And we have girls that are totally nude. And if they're not totally nude and sweaty and dirty and hot and grimy, it looks real, folks. We have them topless in jean shorts so high their cracks are eating them. So if you love jean shorts, if you love thighs, if you love butts, you're gonna love this. If you love boobs, you're gonna love this. I mean, it's all here. We also have a lot of great music involving the bass guitar in this film. A lot of bass work and a lot of heavy jazz in here as well. This is a very rich score. SADOMANIA has an extremely rich score. How many films of this sleazy nature, although I would argue no film really matches the sleazy complexity of SADOMANIA, but how many films that you call sleazy have such a rich complexity with the music as well? We have drugs in this film. We have lens flares and sunglasses. We have also scary, orchestrated, dark synth. That just some stings and just some atmosphere that is horrific. It's dark, it's menacing, it's disturbing. It brings an automatic horror atmosphere. We have Franco's element of the mirror reality, I like to call it, where you're watching somebody doing something and then all of a sudden you realize that was a mirror reflection, and then the camera spins around to the actual act. And he plays with that quite a bit, but then this is where SADOMANIA really takes off, because he does something with mirrors that I have never seen in any of his films so far, I don't believe, which is he uses a warped funhouse type small mirror in a bedroom. and utilizes it a lot. And it warps the faces, it warps the bodies, it warps the reality. It's almost in a way, the way Franco utilizes, things being out of focus in some of his films. It's almost as if the mirror is the out of focus reality. We have a theme in this film of impotence, an open marriage, the need for children, and how do you get those children? Lesbian relationships, lesbianism within marriage, the sound of wind, which reminded me a bit of maybe the sound of the wind in Mansion of the Living Dead as well, which I've looked at on this YouTube page. We spend some time at a boat dock in this film as well. We have the element of minors, underage girls. I mean, not in real life, but in the story. A Jean Short cat fight. Nipple, needle, blood, licking. Yes, nipple, needle. If you've ever seen Fulci's film Murder Rock, there are a lot of nipple needles in that film, but I gotta tell you, there's just one nipple needle scene in SADOMANIA that I feel just feels disturbing on a completely different level. There is dramatic piano in this film as well. A naked shadow fight to the death. There is violin music in this film, while there is a little toy violinist playing. In one of the most interesting artistic pieces in this film and many in film in general, inside of a mansion, we have moving framed art, unlike anything I've ever seen before. It seemingly looks like it's all from the same artist, but it almost reminds me of, Silver Shamrock Factory in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I mean, seriously, I've never seen anything so tiny, so complex. Moving art, moving framed art, and little toys that are moving and gliding around. The camera in SADOMANIA will move from side to side, move across a room, but allow the obstructions to just glide right in front of the camera like this. Just allow the obstructions to keep flowing right in front of the camera like that. It happens a lot in here. As Franco knows, he uses obstruction a lot. It's something that Franco does. He uses obstruction. We have bestiality rape in this film, unlike anything I've ever seen before. I gotta be honest with you. We have some synthesized keys, dreamy atmosphere, emotional. There's some aspects to the synthesized score in here that really tug at your soul. We have jazzy Spanish music that makes darkness that's happening on the screen seem normal, seem sexy, seem commonplace. And maybe, just maybe, folks, that is what makes Franco's films so utterly dangerous. The tone of the music in comparison with the tone of the storyline and what is happening on the screen. Some have said you look at a film like She Killed in Ecstasy, and they say the score is so vastly different than what's happening in the storyline. Okay. Danger, 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 dangerous. The most explicit sexual scenes in this film, up close shots of a vagina, fingers on a vagina, things like that, are done with a transsexual, Ajita Wilson. Way ahead of her time, 1981. Looks like she had a full sex change because penis turned to a vagina, and we see the vaginal lips in this film and everything. We have prostitution in this film and sexually transmitted diseases. We have a bitten, deformed nipple that is rather disturbing, I have to say. Disorienting lightning from the sky that brings strobe light effects to a montage sequence in SADOMANIA. We have rape, sexual violence from all sides. Women to women, men to women, and women to men. How does a woman rape a man? How does a woman make a man have sex with her? A violent, dark, heartbreaking seizure death, and its comparison with a dying cow. Is that dark humor? Is that something weird in that scene? Is that Franco's dark humor? Wow. The mix of tones make a dangerous film. Franco is in this film, folks, and he plays a gay pimp. A very flamboyantly gay pimp. And it looks like there is humor being played with his character. We have a shadow phone call in this film. And the closing credits of this film are very, very unique as to when the credits take place in terms of what action is happening on the screen. I'll give you a little hint. There are a couple violent deaths in this film that remind me of Women in Cell Block 9 a bit, in the natural world. We have very successful, abrupt gun violence in this film. This might be the best gun violence I've ever seen in a Franco film. It's very, very violent. It's very real. It's abrupt. It sucker punches you, and it's disturbing. And, you know, SADOMANIA is a film that has 3 locales. And, it makes this film what it is. We have the locale of a prison camp in the middle of nowhere, palm trees everywhere. We have the locale of a mansion amidst the palm trees with flamboyant artwork and failed desires and lust. And we have a boat dock, prostitution ring. This is Jess Franco's 1981 SADOMANIA. What would this be rated today? By today's standards, it'd be an easy NC-17. But because of tone, some might even rate it a violent X. Sexual violence. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Jess Franco's 1981 SADOMANIA. Please feel free to check out all of the other Jess Franco videos on this YouTube page, as well as tons of other stuff, adult cinema, softcore, hardcore, teen sex comedies, the weird, the bizarre, the surreal, comedies in general. It's all here. Anything that I feel needs to be talked about more. And please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopy, Poopy diarrhea. Thank you so much, and good night.